I want to pick up with our theme, developing a Facebook faith, but I can't do it. My verse is verse 37, but 37 won't make too much sense to you without 35 and 36. So I'm going to just preach these two verses to get you ready for verse 37. Matthew 9, verses 35 and 36. Listen to the word of God. And Jesus went about all the cities and villages, teaching in their synagogues and preaching the gospel of the kingdom and healing every sickness and every disease among the people. But when he saw the multitudes, he was moved with compassion on them, because they fainted and were scattered abroad as sheep having no shepherd. You may be seated.
Amen. Work it out, man.
I just want to use for a thought today, it's your season. It's your season. One of the best things that could ever happen to me is to know that I'm not going through my problems by myself.
Amen.
Let me say it another way. One of the best things that could happen to me is knowing that somebody else is going through or dealing with the exact struggle that I'm facing. Now, I don't wish people to go through what I'm going through, but it just feels good to know I'm not going through it by myself. Have you ever been there? And as a pastor, we need to know that our struggles are not unique, that our problems are not relegated simply to us. In my text, I found a connection with Jesus that just blessed my soul, because the text says, when you look at verse 36, Jesus looked at the people who were with them as he and his disciples were traveling around preaching. Look at the text. It says he looked out and saw the multitudes. Now, a multitude means a disorganized or confused body of people. And according to the text in verse 36, there was more than one multitude. So quite literally, everybody that followed Jesus had divided themselves off into cliques. And within the clique, everybody was messed up. Can you see this? The followers of Jesus, the people who followed him around, were messed up. Their lives were disorganized. They were living in a mess. Now, can you imagine how I feel trying to preach the gospel every week and wondering why my people can't get it? Sister Davis, I feel so much better because Jesus has the same witness that the people who followed him couldn't get it. And if they could follow Jesus and be jacked up, come on, then what makes me think that the people who follow me should have it all together? And I know you got your good clothes on. I know you got your mind right to worship in here today. But the truth is, somewhere in your life, you got some mess. Come on and say amen. Now, you try to put out like you this, that, and the other, and you don't want nobody to know your business, but if I don't even have a crystal ball, I can look at you beyond your good looks and your hair and your outfit, and I can suggest very accurately that you got a messed up life. Oh, come on and talk to me. You got some relationships that are messed up. As a matter of fact, it's not even the people you with. Sometimes it's just you. You got some stuff in your head. Oh, see, y'all don't want to be honest in here. Come on, tell the truth. Tell you got some ways about you think messed up. If psychologists were in the church just observing us, psychologists would come away declaring that some of us need professional care. And we'd find out poor little Amanda Bynes wouldn't even be by herself. Some of us would be locked up. The people who followed Jesus, they were in a multitude among themselves, one with others. And a multitude is a disorganized, chaotic, or messy group of people. Some of us hang around messy people. Now these are church folk now. These are church folk. They followed Jesus, but they messed up. See, I'm under the conviction that before we get holier than thou and try to go out and win the lost or the unsaved, we have so much work to do right within the local church. Matter of fact, you got some work to do on your pew because you sitting beside people with messed up lives. We don't get laid off sometimes. We just get fired. Church folk. Because even on the job, we won't act right. Who they think they are telling me what to do? You know how we do. How you gonna yell at me? My mama don't yell at me like that.
Take it plain.
We get in debt with no intention of paying it off. We will buy a new outfit and know we got bills that we need to pay. Now keep in mind, Black America, we spend nearly $1 trillion a year. As a people, we are the 11th largest nation on the planet in spending. But we don't have no banks. We can't even afford to die. You know, the average funeral costs $7,000. We can't even afford a good funeral. In our top 5 expenditures, they're on depreciative goods. And in the top 5 expenses, nowhere do you find books or insurance. Did I tell you I'm talking about church folk?
Yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
These are the people that are with Jesus. Now, what's interesting, I'm just going to say two things and I'll quit. Look at the text. Verse 35. He went about all the cities and villages. This is his Galilean ministry. When you study the life of Jesus, there are two epochs to his ministry time. In 3 years or 2 seasons, he preaches in Galilee for the first half, and then he goes to Judea and goes to Jerusalem, and he's met at Calvary with the cross. So now he's in his Galilean ministry, where Galilee means circuit. It means preaching in a circuit. And Galilee is made up of about 270 towns, villages, cities, and hamlets. And so Jesus has been preaching for over a year in every village, every town, every city, and every hamlet. He has been on a continual revival for over a year. Preaching. So for over a year, he's been preaching so hard, Tony, that he never looked at the people that followed him. For over a year, he's been going at it, preaching the kingdom and teaching the scriptures in the temples and healing of all diseases and sicknesses. He's been going so hard, so long, that he never looked up. But here it is, a year or a year and a half later, and the text says in verse 36, he looked up and saw the people. For over a year and a half, these people have been messy, but Jesus didn't pay it no mind. Y'all missing my point, so let me just go ahead and tell it to you. When you really work for God, you don't have time for other people's mess. That's all I'm really trying to tell you. When you really put your head down and faithfully serve the Lord, you don't have time to get involved in other folks' mess. I wish I had somebody in here. You see, part of the problem in the church is some of us, we are not busy, we're idle, and so we get caught up in gossip. And before you know it, we're messing around in everybody's business. But if you ever get busy, you don't have time to mess with nobody's drama. Why? Because you are serving God. And service to God is predicated on an experience with him. And so the reason I don't have time to fool with your drama is because when I met God, it was so overwhelming, so awe-inspiring, so wonderful, so amazing that I get joy every time I think about what he's done in my life. And because God has been so good to me, I serve him every day. I don't have time to fool with you on stupid stuff. I don't have time with you to be messing around in drama. When I think about his goodness and all he's done for me, is there anybody in here that know I don't have time for stupid people? Why don't you tell your neighbor, say, neighbor, I don't do stupid. Now, every now and then I'll do crazy, but I don't do stupid.